This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Reads Glitter and Lasers old blog from 2020. It's still 2013. It's still 2013. I'm not redoing that again. I know it says December 31st, 2012 here, but that is because it's December 31st, 2012. And she puts forward some New Year's resolutions in this post that we are going to go over, and then we are going to jump into 2013. So, that being said, I have notes that I have taken, so I'm going to go through the different blog pages, but I will be referencing my notes. There's a couple posts that are relevant that we will be reading all of, we being the royal we. But for the most part, I'm just going to kind of like give you the Cliff Notes version of the different blog posts. And just kind of my observations as we go, because there's a lot to go over in 2012. This is the year before she drops off the planet and then emerges from her cocoon as the glitter and lasers that we all know and love. I was going somewhere with that and then I completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, so this is just a condensed version. We will not be able to do the entirety of 2013 in one episode. So I've already recorded this once, and my audio was absolute crap. So I'm redoing it again because I didn't like my audio. But anyway, I also know that we're only going to get through like January and February in one episode. So that's what we're going to be doing in this one. And then in the next episode, hopefully we can get through like March, April, and May, because at some point around the middle of the year, she moves and she's gone for about a month because of the move. And then she's very busy in 2013 traveling. She's traveling a lot in 2013, but she achieves a lot of goals as far as weight loss goals in 2013. And I just think it's very interesting because the glitter and lasers, or glitter, she just calls herself glitter right now. The glitter from 2013 is such a different person. It's just a completely different person than the glitter and lasers of today, who is opting for literal surgery to have chunks of herself removed from her own body, as opposed to diet and exercise, which has been proven to work for her. Like, glitter and lasers of 2025 has convinced herself that she cannot lose weight, and the only way to get that snatched Barbie waist that she desperately wants is to literally cut it off of herself, which is just bizarre. I'm sorry, it's bizarre. But this glitter and lasers, this glitter from 2013 had already lost a significant amount of weight going into the year and continued to lose weight going through the year, was actually fairly active, had a social life, but she also had like a full-time job that she was like accountable to, and she had coworkers and stuff like that. So she kind of had like one of those work enforced social lives kind of things. Those of you who have one understand what I'm saying. Those of us who don't understand, I guess, or do, and are like, God, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. Mandatory fun. That's the word I'm looking for. But there's that kind of a thing. One thing I did notice going through the 2013, because we've already done 2012, but one thing I did notice going through 2013 is her her exaggerations and her, I don't know how to put it. Basically, her exaggeration starts early, right? And of course, her purpley prose is just. Anna writes like English is not her third, fourth, or second language. It's like she never quite captured English, even though she's a native English speaker. I don't get it. But anyway, so it's hard for me to read her writing sometimes, because on top of Anna writing like a teenager at all points, I'm dyslexic and it just really catches me off guard sometimes because she just doesn't write the way I want to predict that she writes. That's part of the way I deal with my dyslexia. Like I predict the way I expect a sentence to go, and when it doesn't, it really throws me off. But that's a me problem, not an Anna problem. But you add into that Anna's insistence of cramming as many descriptive words into a sentence as she can, and it just completely screws with everything. Also, Anna likes to not put words in sentences. She does misspell things, which I don't normally catch, but every now and then I do. And then she just like completely doesn't put words into sentences. It's very strange. Anyway, my point is between Anna's bad grammar and poor spelling, you add in my dyslexia, and it's a fun time, is what I'm saying. So there you have that. I do wonder if she doesn't have a touch of the Alexia, maybe. What else do I need to say going forward? If you hear a little bit of background noise, I just have really active neighbors today, and I apologize for that. There's only so much I can edit out, and that's all I've got. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up. And let's dive into this. So this is looking forward, Glitter's New Year's resolutions. And the important takeaways here, well, that this is her best friend. Does she ever say her friend's name? Oh, there she is anyway. So these are Anna's New Year's resolutions going into 2013. She wants to run a mile without stopping. It's hard to not compare 2013 Anna with 2025 Anna, and especially 2024 Anna, because we just came out of 2024. But it's hard not to do a one-to-one comparison, and it's also not fair to do, because 2013 Anna is trying, right? And 2025, 24 Anna has given up. So like it's right here. She's like, I want to run a mile without stopping. And then you like flash forward to March of 2024, where she hobbles through a 5K and then claims that she ran the whole thing. And it's just like, all right. Also keep in mind that Anna in 2013 is half the size that Anna in 2024 is. And that's even with the weight loss both times, because she did say that she lost some weight in 2023 and 2024. Going to be a lot of dates, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of like a history class, and I apologize. There's only so much I can do. But anyway, so we've got for 2013, she wants to run a mile without stopping. She says, sometimes I have a dream where I am running. This one's intriguing because of the story here about the dream about running. I did also read Anna's 2018 book, A Life Full of Glitter, which is written after her fat acceptance renaissance, where she comes back as a fat acceptance fashionista. And she mentions in there the same story about having a dream about running. And so she decided to take up running. And it could be that these are two separate instances, but the story is similar enough that I'm willing to wager that this is the same story. And I'm sure if I pull up the 2018 book and I pull out the story about the running, because I have it highlighted and everything, because I was comparing that at the time to her 2024 running arc. At the time, it was the 23-24 running arc. Told you, lots of dates. Sorry. But I'm sure if I went and pulled it up, there's enough similarities here that I can be like, yes, this is the same running arc here. So this is Anna at this stage running, and she's like, I know she's somewhere between 350 and 380 here. And I'll show you a picture in a second where she's holding this cute little dog. So that's where she was at when she was running the first time. And we know this because at some point in the future here, she gives us an actual weigh-in. So there's that. Let's see. She says, I wake up and my feet are itching to take off. However, as soon as I try, I'm exhausted within a minute. The last time I remember running a mile was in 3rd grade. In 2013, this changes. I will run that mile again and hopefully more. She wants to lose another 100 pounds. That means 170 in total. She says, in under 7 months, I have lost 70 pounds. For the next year, factoring in that my weight loss will eventually slow down, I plan to lose an average of 8 pounds a month, 100 in total. A hefty goal, but I'm up for it. I I feel like that's really, personally, I feel like that's kind of where am I going with this? A lofty goal? Well, she does say that, doesn't she? Anyway, my point is, I feel like that's a bit much, but especially like she says, her weight's eventually going to slow down. She's going to plateau. Logically, she's going to plateau. I don't know if she ever actually does. But keeping that in mind, I don't know, I would shoot for like 6, but that's me. I'm a realist to the point of almost pessimism, so take that how you want. Anna likes to shoot for the stars, or shoot for the moon to fall amongst the stars. Or at least this Anna did. Oh yes, and the self-care arcs. Take time to take care of myself. Losing weight is awesome, but there's so much more to living a happy, healthy life. This year, I plan to do many of the other things that could improve my day-to-day life. I only made time for them, such as getting a physical, seeing a nutritionist, and enjoying a massage once in a while, are activities I just don't do. I make excuses, but committing to these things in 2013 will make achieving my other goals just a little bit easier. She talks about reasons why she doesn't do things like the massage. She talks about her bathtub challenges later on. But this is a full body of Anna in 2013. So this is Anna at 130, or sorry, 350-ish, high-end 350 pounds, right? And this is after she's lost 70 pounds. So she was at 400, if not over 400, when she started her weight loss journey. I just want you to keep this in mind because this is where Anna starts, right? And just a little bit of history going into 2013 that I wasn't actually completely aware of her timeline until I started doing her 2013 review. Her sister passed away in, I want to say 2011, and she started her blog in 2012. She started her blog, I think, the day after she applied for Biggest Loser and didn't make the show. Again, that's not a failing on her end. But instead of at that time being like, oh, screw it, and giving up, she was like, I'm starting this blog and this is going to be my weight loss blog. And that's what it has been. So the sequence of events, and she lost her mom in like 2007, 2009. So she lost her mom and her sister in a pretty tight time frame there. And then right after her sister died, the year after her sister died, she went to try out for Biggest Loser. And then she starts this weight loss blog where she's very cognizant of her weight being a health issue, right? So this is the mind frame of this Anna. She's very aware that obesity and obesity related illnesses can kill because it's taken 2 female members of her family out, right? 2 of her blood relations gone. And it's on their death certificates, right? So there's no beating around the bush. It's not like, oh, maybe it contributed. No, it's on their death certificates. That's what took them out, right? So that's the mind frame of 2013 Anna. And it's just so interesting knowing that this is the mind frame of 2013 Anna, and then looking at 2025 Anna and hearing her in her medical detective blog or podcast trying to rewrite her history and saying things like, oh, I can't actually lose weight because I've got 2 super special rare obesity genes that just, it's, the weight's not my fault, you guys. I have special genes and the lipedema, I just can't do anything about it. She doesn't have lipedema yet, or at least she's not been diagnosed with lipedema yet at this point. Maybe she does have it and she just doesn't know she has it yet. I mean, that's entirely possible, especially early stages, but like, I don't know exactly when she gets diagnosed with lipedema. She doesn't start talking about it until 2017, the year before she publishes her book. So I don't know if she is even aware, but she even talks about not having a physical yet. So you know, this is head in the sand. This is head in the sand behavior. You hear Sean of Steel talk about that a lot too, though, with his like, because he was a 600-pound guy who lost a ton of weight, and I think he's down in like the high 200s now, um, with weight loss surgery and just diet and exercise. But you know, he talks about you get to a certain weight and you just stop. You just quit weighing yourself. You quit going to the doctor. You just pretend like it's not happening. And I feel like that's kind of where Anna has been. And then, you know, here in her self care, she's talking about, oh, I'm going to go get a physical. I'm going to see a nutritionist. At this point, she's having some kind of issue with her foot. She mentioned it in 2012, and she had its gnarly picture of her foot. It's just like swelled to the size of a football. And I still don't know what happened, but that's just something to carry forward because it does impact things in 2013. All right, so those are our New Year's resolutions going into 2013. So let's jump into 2013. Where are my notes? All right, this is from January 5th. 2013 is my year. This is apparently a picture of the Williamsburg Bridge. And this is where I'm talking about Anna's exaggerations start early. Her embellishments start early. She says she took a ridiculously long walk today, 7.5 miles. She complains about not being able to run a mile or run for more than a minute, yet she's walking 7.5 miles. Now, Anna has been doing Soul Cycle for a while at this point, I think for about 4 to 6 months at this point in the year. So she does have like an endurance thing going on, but I don't know. I'm still like, all right. But anyway, so this post's important because she says, here we go. Not only did I begin the week with a stay at the Biggest Loser Resort contest. What am I? First off, not only did I with the win. Sorry. I told you. Her writing gets me. She says, not only did I win the week stay at the Biggest Loser Resort contest that I begged you all to vote for, last year, in 2012, she was asking her readers to go vote for her to go to the Biggest Loser Resort. It's not the TV show. It's a Biggest Loser themed fat camp, basically. And we'll be covering that separately from her 2013 blog. It does happen in 2013, but we'll cover it separately. Just because it's like an entire week out of the year and there's a lot going on. But okay, so back to this. She also dropped 7 pounds during 2 weeks she was away on holiday. She says with that 7 pounds came her special reward. She earned one of her 5-pound buttons. To refresh our memories, at the end-ish of last year, 2012, she went to this specialty button store and bought a bunch of like foo-foo buttons. And she said that each button represents 5 pounds of weight loss. And I think she got some that were supposed to represent like 10 pounds or something like that. And anyway, each time she was 5 pounds down, she's going to either take a button out of the jar, or she was going to put a button in the jar. And then with those buttons, she was going to like put them on clothes or make jewelry or something out of them so that she could have her celebration buttons with her at all times. It was just a visual way for her to track her weight, which is fine. I thought it was a cute idea. Who doesn't like a nice button? But yeah, that was the important takeaway. This is the button in question. Oh yeah, and then this is the influencer thing. The only reason I wanted to talk about this is I don't know exactly what influencer was, but it seems to be some kind of like website that you could go to and buy things and then give your influencer code to your viewers and they could go buy things with your code. It sounds like a pyramid scheme is what it sounded like. But it was wrapped up in making you seem like an influencer. And it's just one of those early things that Anna was doing to just kind of try to be an influencer, which it shows me that even at this point in her life, she was trying to be an influencer. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just an interesting detail to kind of stick a pin in that this is an early trait that Anna had in the back of her head is that, yes, she did want to be an influencer. It's just at this point she was trying to go for like health influencer, you know. She wanted to be a Biggest Loser kind of a girl, girly pop. All right, so now we're moving on to this is January the 8th. Weight loss. This is filed under, yeah, weight loss, hardcore math nerd style. Anna thinks she's some kind of math nerd. I don't know. I don't do math. She's filed it under her motivation section. Basically, what this one's about is she was kind of getting down on herself because her scale fluctuated, and let's see. She says, I was feeling pretty crappy after a few not so stellar sessions of soul cycling and dealing with a scale that was not playing nice. For example, it is not possible that I gained 10 pounds in 2 days by exercising and eating within my daily caloric goal. This is another one of those things, like Anna and her 40-pound weight gain. It's what does she call it? Fluctuation. No, what does she call it? Inflammation. 40 pounds of inflammation. Go to the doctor. That's heart failure, Anna. Anyway, the only thing I really want to say here is like some people who experience a monthly flow tend to have water gain during that time period leading into or even during the monthly flow. Pretty much all of us do it. We gain a little bit of weight, but then it usually goes away by the end of the flow, right? And it's usually just completely water weight. There's bloating involved sometimes as well. Some of us get it way worse than others. 10 pounds is a bit extreme. She doesn't say that's what it is, but it's kind of like a 10 pounds over 2 days. You know, it's kind of like, it's kind of what it sounds like to me, but it's still, that's a lot. But anyway, I'm just kind of like, did you really gain 10 pounds just by eating within your caloric? But also 10 pounds is a lot for her. Keep in mind, she's losing weight up to this point, right? Anyway, she says that little square piece of plastic is causing me to have trust issues. So she decided to take matters into her own hands and create this little infographic kind of showing herself over the past 6 months what all she's accomplished, right? So these are like non-scale victories for her. And I think this is a really smart thing to do because if you're just paying attention to the scale will fluctuate and it will kind of get you down. And so like pretty much anybody who's invested in helping you lose weight will tell you to do other things besides weigh yourself because you're going to have those fluctuations and it's going to not feel good, right? So that's what she's doing here. She's tracking, you know, the hours of time that she's worked out, the miles she's traveled, calories she's burned. I'm sure those miles she's traveled, she's using her Soul Cycle miles. Or she might be counting miles as in the airplane miles she's traveled, because again, she was traveling a lot for work. But anyway, so she's just got all these cute little infographics going on over here and stuff. But, you know, and it made her feel better. So I just think it was a pretty smart thing to do. Anna likes to think she's some kind of like chart nerd. And this is not new for her. And she carries this throughout. The only time I've never heard her talk about this is during any of her vlogs. Like she doesn't talk about this in her videos. But in her book, she talks about it. In her blogs, she talks about it. That like she loves to do these infographics and she loves data and she's a math nerd and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think I've ever really heard her talk about it in her videos. So I don't know what the difference is. But anyway, just pointing that out. This is a really interesting blog post here from January 14th. I did not realize, I always just assumed Anna was a Disney adult. I just assumed that she had grown up a Disney adult. But apparently, this is from January 14th. This is put under motivation and sweats. Dreams do come true. Again, going back to Anna claiming that she's always been some kind of like chart nerd. She says, when I was about 7 years old, I can distinctly remember sitting on the end of my mom's bed and lecturing her on what a horrible mother she was because we were going to go to Cape Cod on vacation instead of Disney World. I told her it was her God-given responsibility to take me to see the House of the Mouse. I pleaded I was the only child who had ever been denied such joys. Knowing how weird a kid I was, I probably made a business presentation on why Disney was good for a child's health. She says, you're probably thinking, oh, she's making this up. I am not. I swear someday I will interview Papa Glitter and he will tell you about how I used to prepare formal presentations to persuade my parents. Okay. Yeah, Anna, you were a weird kid. Gold star. Anyway, so that shit has been constant throughout Anna's life. That need to show you how unique and weird she was from an early age. That's something that she's always had with her and continues to carry with her. But anyway, I thought Anna was a Disney adult, but this is from the 14th, and she's talking about what was the date? So apparently January 13th of 2013 was Make Your Dreams Come True Day. So she decided out of nowhere to book a hotel in Orlando, Florida, and buy a ticket to Disneyland. And she drove 3 hours listening to, quote, the worst mix of radio ever. Seriously, how is it possible that Taylor Swift can be on every single station at the same time? So you've been a lifelong Swiftie, have you? All right. Anyway, so she finally makes it to Disney, and apparently the day that she decided to go, which would have been the 13th or the 14th, I guess, that also happened to be the 5K, the Disney 5 or 10K. But anyway, so she shows up and there's one of the Disney marathons is going on, and she is duly impressed with it and she's inspired, and so she decides that she is going to run the Disney, I believe 5K she's shooting for in 2014. Yeah, in that park I made myself a promise. Next year I will be running in the same race I accidentally crashed on my first day at Disney. Okay, half marathon, but still. So I have 12 months to push myself, sweat, ache, grow, and make the seemingly impossible happen, and I will. So this is the first time she ever wanted to run the Disney marathon thing, and technically she should have run it in 2014 in January. And we'll double check later to see if she did. I don't think she did, but we will definitely give it a check. I feel like if she had actually run it, we would hear more about it, but we don't. And then I guess this is just like a little walking map of everywhere she went. She has like not a Fitbit, but a early Fitbit competitor that she was using. So I don't know. What? We didn't click on anything. Oh. This post is about her grandma, which is cool. Nothing against her grandma. Her grandma sounds like an interesting person. Kind of irrelevant to the conversation. All right. This is from January 21st, eating out and motivation. Habits over, diet tips, 76 pounds down. This whole part, so this is one of her 5-pound buttons. So she's down another 5 pounds. While my inner fat child, lovingly named Bertha, got down and dirty with the devil of delicious, I was somehow also keeping myself in check. That's how Anna writes. She's talking about, basically she kind of went on a little bit of a bender this week, and she was eating Reese cups. Now she says she gobbles down 6 Reese cups. She later on it tells you that they're the mini Reese cups, not the full ass ones. Don't get me wrong, I can do some damage to some Reese cups. So if she had said that those were 6 full ass Reese cups, no judge, but I'm just saying. I too can do that, which is why I don't buy Reese cups. But anyway, so she's basically talking about how even though she was really eating off her diet and not eating the foods that she should have been eating diet-wise, she was still tracking her calories. So she was still eating within her calorie deficit. And I guess she was trying to keep herself around 1,500 calories. No, sorry. She was saying at the Cheesecake Factory, spoiler, no matter what you order, it somehow manages to be 1,500 calories. My bad. I don't know what her calorie count is. I don't know if she ever says. Even from the beginning of this blog, she is very tight about what her caloric deficit is and what her diet looks like and what her weight is. She's very tight-lipped about all three of these things. So, yes, she used at the very beginning of this in 2012, she was sharing recipes. I think she kind of stops in 2013. But she was sharing recipes in 2012 and she kind of stops. But that wasn't like her everyday eating. Like she doesn't really do what I eat in the days kind of things. She never really does. Occasionally she'll do like I'm traveling and there'll be pictures of things that she ate while she was traveling. And when she was when she was cooking more, she would show pictures of the things that she had cooked and she would share the recipe. But that's just like a thing, not like the whole day. I don't, I cannot recall if she's ever actually shared her calorie goal, but whatever it is, she is losing weight, right? And I know at this point she was actually doing like a low carb kind of approach, not a no carb, just a low carb thing. And she was kind of doing like a higher protein diet, but not like the shit she pulled in 2024 where it was like cheese and cheese and cheese and potatoes, like or cheese and cheese and cheese and pasta. Not that kind of crap. So even though we don't have like a full idea of what she was eating, we can just kind of go out again off of the few things that she does show us and just the things that she talks about eating. But most of the time when she's telling us about things that she's eaten, she's usually telling us about things she's eaten off track. So that's kind of like you have an idea of more of what she eats when she's off track than you do what she's eating when she's on track, which is kind of fascinating. But he does also drives home the point more that Anna has a hard time controlling herself around food, especially food that she finds desirable versus food that she knows is healthy and is good. She never complains about it not tasting good. It's just she'd rather have a Reese cup than, a nice delicious salad, right? Some salads can be very tasty. Which would you rather have, 6 Reese cups or a nice salad? Anna would rather have the Reese cups, right? She'd rather spend her calories on the Reese cups. She does go on in this particular blog to talk about a weird thing where she's conditioned her coworkers to yell at her if she tries to eat too many snacks at the office. It's a weird thing where she basically compares it to let's see, he stopped mid-sentence, looked me in the eye, and said very directly, "No. I now know what a dog feels like after peeing on the carpet." Weird. But anyway, she says the end result, she dropped 2 pounds, putting her at 76 pounds down, and that earned her another button. Now, this is while she was traveling, so that's another reason why this is kind of significant. So this is her at the beginning of this whole journey. This is her at the very, very beginning. And this is her where she's at right now at the 76 pounds down. So, I mean, you can see there's a significant difference in nothing else but her face. I mean, yeah, she's pulling a face here, but I mean, her shoulders, you can see it. Her chest, you can see it. She actually has a waistline. You can really, I know she's wearing black, like pants and stuff like that, but I mean, look at her calves. You can see it in her knees here. She doesn't have like that weird bulge going on. If she was wearing something a little bit more skin tight and not this weird dress, like you would be able to see it in her hips and stuff too as well. So there's definitely a difference. I can't tell you if it's exactly 75 to 76 pounds down. I don't know. I don't have magical eyes. I think Chikara did look at these images. I forget what she said exactly, but I mean, you can tell she's lost weight. So anyway, but that's the big takeaway from this post. All right, so this is January the 28th. There's not a whole lot here other than I just kind of wanted to list 2 things from this particular post. This is love letters to my favorite healthy foods. She has this listed under healthy eating snacks with an X and uncategorized. Um, snacking has always been very important to her. Like, she even says at one point in this blog, I don't know if it's this entry or some, but it's in the blog, that snacking is important to her. So this is something that she has always stood by. Um, but these are just three foods that she was like really into, which is the Dr. Prager's, these fake meat burgers, the pop chips. I remember when pop chips were popular. And the hint water. I do actually like hint water. I like the watermelon. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty tasty. It tastes like watermelon. I don't know how they do it. I don't want to know. It's probably some chemical that's going to kill me. I would just rather not know. Um, but anyway, the other really interesting takeaway from this is in case anyone is curious, none of this was paid for. I just really love these brands. It again kind of throws back to Anna's kind of looking for sponsors early in her blog, which just kind of goes back to the idea of being an influencer and being a paid influencer has always been in Anna's mind. Um, so it's just kind of an interesting detail, right? Um, did I miss this one? Oh, I did. So this is from January 26th. We're actually backing up just a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. She's just talking about this is sizing down smartly. She has it under fashion. She's basically talking about going to a uh, fashion boutique that does resale, but it focuses on plus size fashion. And she's just talking about some of the clothes she got at the plus size fashion shop, and that's pretty much it. But because she needed smaller clothing, but she's still in the plus sizes, so that's why she was talking about this. I think it's a cute idea. Nothing wrong with it. Um, Now she goes on to January 31st. This is one of her challenges. She's stopped doing the Sunday challenges that she used to do in 2012. In 2012, she was doing this thing on every Sunday. She was doing some kind of like, she would issue herself a challenge for the next week and she would do it on Sunday. And it was things like, get out and walk more. Mostly it was like physical challenges, get out and walk more, or go do XYZ, or I don't know, drink more water, that kind of thing. I've noticed she stopped doing that in 2013, or at least she hasn't done it throughout January. But this is why I'm giving up sugar in February. The important one about this is that she's talking about her food addictions. And 2012 Anna is, or 2013 Anna is very self-aware, and not just of her own being. Like, she hasn't disassociated from her body yet. Like, she's still in control of her physical self at this point. She hasn't made that mind body disconnect yet. But she's also owning her food addiction. She doesn't seem to have gone and gotten any help with it though. Like, this Anna is still very therapy resistant. She talks about it sometimes in a circular way, but never actually goes and gets any help. Let's see. She says, I started to think about my food choices this week, and she says, I stayed within my calories, but my choices have gone downhill. She said I would eat something super healthy, low calorie, low fat meal. So she was doing low cal, low fat, full of veggies, and then she'd make up for it by eating a bunch of sweets. So she'd have 2 big salads with a side of shortcake, or she'd have a healthy stir fry with a slice of pie. And then she was like, she had slipped into a sugar slump, and what'd she say? After walking into the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory, that's a place, man. We had one on the Circle in Indiana. That place, you could smell it for a block. It smells so good. Anyway. After going into the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory at the airport and ordering a few treats, it hit me. I am not just indulging in sugar. My body is craving it. I've slipped back into a bad habit. It will not get me back to where I was, 2 pieces of cake and a microphone. Okay, Anna. It was cute. I'll give you that. But anyway, she says, sure, it's drastic, but I'm addicted. And I need to stop the cravings now. So yeah, I need to let the holidays, I think I let the holidays creep a nasty addiction back in. So basically she's talking about eliminating sugar, and she even says artificial sweeteners from her diet, because the artificial sweetener can actually trigger the sweet need in her. I think when you're admitting to having an addiction like this, like an actual addiction and not just like a craving addiction, it's not really an addiction. But anyway, my point is, she talks about how this might seem harsh for some people, but I think in her instance here, I think maybe it's a good idea for her, just because if the actual taste of sweet is what's sending you over the edge, you might want to avoid it. She said, no sugar or health food alternative like agave, no artificial sweeteners, no foods with sugar in the first or fourth ingredients. That's interesting. Fruits are okay, juice in moderation. See, this is back when we still thought juice was good for us. And enemy number one, cupcake. Yeah, well, I'm with you there. Mine would be donuts, but yeah, I get you. She does she does crack a joke about being single because she's getting ready to do this sugar purge right before February. So that just kind of feeds into her, like, now this is before she starts doing all that weird, like, I'm so desirable February shit that she does every year. This year now, oh man, the Valentine's Day thing she did for this year is just weird. Anyway, but yeah, this just kind of feeds into the whole, like, Anna's just always been single. She's just always been single. And it's kind of sad, but she's just always been single. But anyway, so this is her, again, this is just another one of her ways of showing that she was aware and was trying to turn things around, to the point where she knew that she needed to cut out even like alternative sugars, right? She wasn't quite there with the juices because she didn't quite understand that juice wasn't fruit, but a lot of people are there, right? A lot of people don't know that. Still don't know that. So there you are. If you needed that tip, juice is not fruit. Anyway, all those smoothies that you drink, not fruit. Anyhow, this entry is kind of interesting. So we talk about Anna and her self-awareness, and this is from February the 3rd. This is how to run if you're overweight. And remember, we had just talked about how she had decided that she was going to run this year because she's never run before 2013. So she decided she was going to take up running in 2013. And then she went to the Disney and she saw the marathon and decided that she was going to run the marathon in 2014. So to post this, if you just read the title, you might be a little thrown. But again, this is a different Anna, right? So if you scroll down and you actually start reading this, she says, I thought about how to title this post for a long time. I feel kind of like a giant a-hole on where I netted out. I've been running for exactly 1 day. I have only completed the first day of Couch to 5K. What the hell do I know about running? The truth is not much. That said, I do know a lot about what to do when you are first getting started, and more specifically, what to do when you're overweight. She says this title exists for the next plus-size girl who decides she wants to take up running. When she Googles how to run if you're plus size, she'll find some answers. She won't have to go awkwardly to her doctor, her friends, or random strangers on the running track for advice. Because she talks about how it was hard for her to find any advice about being a plus-size girl who's starting to run. So she admits that she's not an expert, but the reason why she felt the need to post this was because she wasn't finding the advice that she needed. And that's a completely different thing than what she does nowadays, where she does the TRX machine for exactly 2 days. And suddenly she's like, if you guys want me to show you how to use the TRX machine because I'm an expert now, I'd be happy to make a video for you. You know, it's that kind of shit. I'm going to show you how to work out as a plus size girl, and then totally like completely flops her workout. It's that kind of shit. Like, this is different than that. Anyway, she just walks through a couple different things. She talks about compression gear. She talks about building up her endurance before getting down the track. That one's important just because at this point, what's this, February, she's been doing her soul cycling for like 6-ish months, more than that, a little bit more than 6 months at this point. And she goes fairly regularly from her blog posts. Don't be embarrassed, be selfish. That one's only funny because again, it's hard not to compare 2013 Anna to 2024 Anna, who gets shouted encouragement from a person on the trail and decides that it's dehumanizing, versus this Anna who's like, nobody gives a shit, just get out there and run. Don't worry about other people. Right? Anyway. But that's the interesting part about this particular post. I don't really have an issue with it. I just think the tone of it is so different, where she's admitting she's not an expert, but she's giving you her beginner advice on how to be a beginner, right? Which is different than what she does today. Let's see. This is the first annual Sparkle Ride. Where'd it go? Oh. This is a Sparkle Ride. It was just a Soul Cycle event where apparently they got all dressed up like they were going to the disco and then decided to do a Soul Cycle thing. I don't know. The big takeaway is this is, I think, Olivia here in the middle. And Olivia at the time was... Yes, that's what I wanted you to do. Olivia was the winner of season 11 of Biggest Loser. And that's the big takeaway here, is that I believe this is Olivia. And so she came and did a guest special on Soul Cycle. So there you go. That was the takeaway there. This is Jawbone. Anna uses a Jawbone, not a Fitbit. She uses the Jawbone. I don't know what the difference is. Don't really care. I don't use any of it, so I don't know. But again, this is another one of those FYI, this was not given to me by Jawbone. I paid for it myself. And she writes up this really kind of glowing review of Jawbone. I'm only really noting it because it's another one of those moments where she's kind of pick me, but not like that bad, really, kind of a thing. But you can definitely tell that the idea of being sponsored is there, right? She's thinking about being sponsored, and she's thinking about who she would like to be sponsored by. This one, why I'm building a love affair with the water, is basically why you should drink water instead of soda, and go to the dentist. Effectively is what that one's about. And since it's about teeth, I don't want to read it. Well, I did read it, but we're not going to read it out loud. All right, so the dentist again. This one's an interesting one from February 13th, the Impossible Perfection and Feeling Beautiful. This post is really interesting. Now, this picture is from a while ago. She says, this post is going to come off a little vain. It's going to come off a little valley girl who has everything complaining. It's a bit #white girl problems. She says, the photo above was taken about a year ago during a trip to Turkey. Please ignore the awesomeness of the scenery and the equally awesome cat for another day. Look at that cat. Look at that cat. Focus on me. I am not an ugly girl. Basically, she goes through and talks about, it's a really interesting article because I'm not entirely sure how much of it I really believe and how much of it is Anna trying to pep talk herself while convincing everyone else that this is really what she believes, right? Anna does a lot of these pep talk, even today, she does a lot of this pep talk stuff where you can tell she's talking to herself, where it really just sounds like she's trying to convince herself while trying to convince others as well. She's got a lot of videos that come off this way, a lot of shorts and TikToks that come off this way. Her whole damn book comes off this way. And there's multiple blog posts throughout the years that come off this way, where she's writing to herself, but posting it for other people, if that makes sense. And this is definitely one of those where she's basically talking about how she wasn't bothered growing up fat, how it didn't bother her, and she didn't feel like the ugly duckling growing up fat, and how being fat didn't bother her. But in her 2018 book, she has multiple stories in there about how she did feel like the ugly duckling because she was the fat kid, and how she did feel awkward and out of place because she was the fat kid, and how she did feel like she was missing out because she was the fat kid. And so this is just one of those times where, now this came out before the book, but like, which story is the real story? Is it the 2012 story, or sorry, the 2013 story, or the 2018 stories that you were telling, or any of the stories that you've told in between and after the publication of your book? Like, Anna's stories about her childhood vary wildly depending on when she tells them, and that includes the 2013. This is the beginning of it, and I'd like to be like, oh, 2013 Anna is more honest than any of the other versions of Anna that we've seen throughout the years, but I can't be positive, right? Because unfortunately, Anna has demonstrated throughout the years that she is a unreliable narrator, but has she always been, or did she become one, right? And that's, I can't tell. And there's no way for me to go back and tell. But another really interesting thing, there's two really interesting tidbits that come out of this uh particular blog post. And I'm going to link the Wayback Machine for her blog in the description under the video. So if you want to click on it to go see the Wayback Machine and read all of the blog posts, there will be a link in the description under the video. But one of the important things to pull out of here is after losing both my mother and sister in part to morbid obesity, the reality of being overweight really hit me. She talks about going on lots of dates. I want to know what Anna's definition of a date is, because later on she talks about getting, not in this blog, but later in her videos, she talks about how her exes all contacted her one Valentine Day, and one of her exes was a bartender that bought her a free drink and she exchanged phone numbers with, and they texted for like twice, and that was an ex to her. I'm just like, you never met in person. Like, you never even physically met up. How is he an ex? But anyway. But another really interesting part to take away here is she spends this entire post talking about how her physical appearance never struck her as being weird or ugly or misshapen. But once she started losing weight, mind you, at this point, she's like close to 80 pounds, 85 pounds down. She talks about how her loose skin starts to hang, and the appearance of the loose skin is distressing to her, right? Her loose skin starts to make her feel ugly, and it's not something she likes the appearance of. And this post kind of made 2025 and 2024 Anna kind of makes sense to me, in that one of the reasons I think, after reading this, one of the reasons I think now that Anna never did anything drastic like weight loss surgery or stuck with the weight loss medications long enough is because they cause fast and drastic weight loss, which almost always leads to loose skin. And at Anna's size here, where she's under 350, under 400, she's talking about having loose skin that hangs and jiggles, and she talks about how her belly button starts to stretch and things, and she doesn't like the look of it. Now double her size to 2024 and give her loose skin. You know, she's going to have a lot of loose skin. And I think that fear of the loose skin and the way that she talks about being repulsed by it here explains why she didn't do it today. Because I think the physical repulsion of seeing herself with loose skin outweighs her desire to be skinny, if that makes sense. But then you have Amron and his plastic surgeon come in And they basically say, not only can I just suck the fat off of you, but then I can just cut the skin off of you and you'll never even see the loose skin. Now she's probably like, heck yeah, sign my ass up. And so now she'll never even have to, in her head, she'll never have to deal with the repercussions of weight loss, but she's never lost weight. You know, the visceral fat's still there. All of the problems of being super morbidly obese are still there. She just doesn't have the outer fat and the loose skin. She's still got all the visceral fat, right? Anyway. So that's one of the other really interesting things to take away from here. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. Yeah, so she just talks about how she really doesn't like the way her body starts to look with all the drooping skin. And then down here, one of the last things to take away from it is where is it? Well, she says this is really impactful to me just because it kind of puts things into perspective. And this feeling has made me want to hug every one woman I know who has told me about their body issues in the past. I'd tell them I get it now and that I think they're beautiful. I didn't understand before. I didn't know how much it hurt. I didn't understand why you couldn't see how gorgeous you were. I thought you were whining about being thin and a bombshell. I thought you saw yourself the way I saw you. I'm sorry, forgive me, I understand now. I just find that to be kind of a revelation in the way that Anna perceives other women around her, especially women that she thinks are pretty or prettier than her. If they have any kind of complaints about their bodies, they're just whining. They don't have legitimate complaints about their appearance or that they're dissatisfied. The satisfaction, there we go, with their appearance isn't valid to her. It's just, they're just whining because they're already pretty. How dare they whine and complain? To Anna, that's not a valid thing. But now that Anna is starting to feel in her own body frumpy, now it's okay. You know, it's just kind of a interesting look into the way Anna's brain thinks or works here. This is the infamous Let's Hear It for Love post. Do. This is her Valentine's Day post from 2013 where she basically has a friend take her out and they do a friend's Valentine's Day. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it is. But she basically talks about the various types of love. Like, you can have love for your friends, you can have love for your family, you have love for your beloved. This is the friend that took her out. He seems like a pretty cool guy. He bought her a little hand-drawn rose and some Twix. I think it's cute. And then she goes on to basically tell her friends and coworkers that she values them on Valentine's Day. Yeah, cool, whatever. I mean, it's a cute little post. I don't have a problem with it. But she also basically admits to have been single most of her adult life, if not all of it. So which is it, Anna? Are you constantly being hounded for dates or are you single all the time? It's you know, whatever. I do think Chikara reads the whole post on one of her blogs. I'll try to remember to link it down below. And again, I'll have the link to the Wayback Machine in the description below the video if you want to go click on it and read the whole thing yourself. But it's kind of like the only real takeaway from this is that basically in this post, Anna admits to being single pretty much all the time. So whether or not she's desirable or not, she's single all the time. So there's that. This is the really interesting. It's ugh. This one is interesting and sad because this is the post where she talks about losing both her mother and her sister. This is under thoughts. This is from February 17th. It's called Deathly Fat. This is her mom and her sister here. I can't tell you which one's which. I'm going to, I think this would be the sister and this is the mom, but I'm guessing. So they, I mean, in all honesty, they both kind of look the same age. So, and they both look young. So there's that. All right. Anyway, I'm debating writing this post for a long time because it's a bit controversial. While I love drama, I am more into theater than hair pulling, yo mama welding jokes, hold my earring, blah, blah, blah. God, can you just write? She says, being obese should not be advocated as a healthy lifestyle. I want to be very clear about something. I did not say you cannot be happy and fat. I did not say you can't be making healthy choices and fat. I also did not say you can't love yourself and your body and be fat. What is important? Oh, why is it important I mention this? Because I firmly believe that these arguments often get muddled. That by being a plus size person with self-love, you somehow also have to advocate for the state of being obese as a healthy lifestyle. I think that, I mean, I agree with her in that that is a talking point of fat acceptance. I think she calls it something else than fat acceptance, fat movement. She just calls it the fat movement in her post here, but she's talking about fat acceptance. So I agree with her. That is what fat acceptance argues. Fat acceptance argues that obesity is not a health issue, even though it's a clinical definition of a health issue, and that you can be obese up to morbidly obese and be perfectly healthy, even though you can't walk of your own volition anymore. Yeah, but you're perfectly healthy. Anna goes on to say, generally, a healthy lifestyle is composed of 4 things. Active for 30 minutes a day, at least 5 days a week for 6 out of 8 weeks. You sleep for 8 to 7 or 7 to 8 hours per night. What's that like? You eat a balanced diet. She says this is tricky because it's about listening and doing what's best for your body, which takes time and a regular doctor checkup. No, it's just about eating a fucking balanced diet. It's not rocket science. Do most Americans eat a balanced diet? No. That's why most of us are obese. And then she says proper stress management. Again, what is that? What is that like? You'll notice that most of us suck at these things. She shut up. He says, not once do I see weight mentioned here. Then why the hell is the fat acceptance movement so hell-bent on wrapping it into the discussion? Simple. Because in most instances, if you do the above, you won't be morbidly obese. I agree with her. I think you could still be overweight and do these things, right? But you're probably not going to be morbidly obese. You might cross into the obese category, but morbidly obese? No. You won't look like this. And I'm not trying to be shady here. All right? I'm not trying to be shady. I'm just saying this is beyond obese. Anyway, she says, once upon a time I joined a plus size forum after reading an article about people who are attracted to plus size women. My logic was, hey, I want to date more. Let's go to the watering hole for men who like ladies like me. Joining that forum was perhaps the most traumatic experience of my adult chubby life. Okay. The men were obsessed with the unhealthy bits of obesity, the fat rolls, the heavy breath, the lack of physical activity during sex. That's weird. Some even fantasized about feeding women until they became immobile. The women found their weight to be sexy. However, that self-perception was oddly over-sexualized. They regularly posted nudes of themselves, focused on how they served and pleased men, not how they themselves were pleased. And every sentence was ended with some type of statement about how much more desirable their version of sexy was. Gee, sounds like the modern day fat acceptance movement. Note this was not a sex site, but a lifestyle site. It has been said that women who are insecure often rely on hypersexuality to compensate for their inner feelings of self-doubt. I want to clip that and like mail it to Anna on a Valentine and have it be like, Anna O'Brien, 2013. Anyway, additionally, I saw post after post of women talking about how obese women are just as healthy as the next person. They are not. For context, a person my age and height that exercises lightly 3 times a week, such as a mile walk, and weighs 400 pounds, needs to eat a whopping 3,600 calories a day. I think I did that right. To maintain that weight. Now look, we know she's not 400. But we know what age she is. She has stated that she is 5'10". You could do math backwards and figure out the rest of this on your own. I'm not the math person who can do all of that, so have fun with that. How hard? Yep. Do you know how hard it is to do if you are eating a balanced diet? I think she's saying, do you know how hard it is to eat 3,600 calories a day eating a balanced diet, i.e. being made up of whole foods like fruits, vegetables, protein, and not a lot of like processed foods. It's kind of hard. You'll get full before you have all of your calories in. She says it's damn near impossible. I've tried. Have you, though? Anyway. Yeah, here are women weighing 400 plus pounds, were actively convincing each other that they were living a healthy lifestyle and were just meant to be 200 plus pounds overweight. As much as I wanted to believe that, and at the time I really, really wanted to believe it, I knew deep down this was a massive, massive lie. This wasn't a lifestyle site. It was a collective denial site. We call that Delulu Land. A place where the real world's rules had been altered to be comfortable to a population that felt uncomfortable in reality. Need that on a t-shirt. And instead of talking about that uncomfortableness, they were just pretending it didn't exist. It was weird. That's when I realized I could never support the fat acceptance movement until you jumped in with like both feet. To put simply, I know too much. She says, for example, I know that regular exercise, eating fiber like veggies and fruit, and protein help to stabilize hunger. I also know that if you are obese with a BMI of 30 or higher, you are significantly more susceptible to cancer, depression, and heart and lung and joint problems. Additionally, God forbid you ever get diagnosed with a serious illness, because your ability to successfully overcome that disease is significantly less if you are obese than if you are a healthy weight. How do I know this? In part from reading any article on the effects of obesity on any website ever. So at one point you weren't a science denialist. In part from my own personal struggles with weight loss and gain. Even more personally, I lost my mother and sister as a result of morbid obesity. 2023. My mother passed away just short of her 52nd birthday in 2003. She had gotten sick and her body couldn't fight the illness. Her death certificate listed her official cause of death as morbid obesity in 2003. Come on, brain, we can do this. My sister Catherine died. My sister Catherine died in June of 2011. Again, the year before Anna started this blog, as a result of long-term weight issues. Neither my mother nor my sister had ever been tremendously healthy people. I fervently believe that both of their deaths were a result of their poor food, exercise, and general health conditions, and those choices will affect me for the rest of my life. I lost most of my family. I am constantly envious of the relationships my friends have with their mothers and sisters, and I am constantly fearful that I too will die young. Well, I mean, I don't know how old her sister was when she passed away, but she's got a bit before she might outlive her mom. Maybe. So anyway, she goes on to basically just kind of lambaste the fat acceptance movement and basically talk about stuff about the never mind. He goes on to say, now it kills me is every time I see a plus size site that advocates being severely overweight as healthy lifestyle alternative, I get livid because being obese should not be suggested as healthy way to live. That's why they titled the state of being so morbidly obese a synonym for deathly fat. Instead of focusing on any weight as being healthy, we should encourage people to be active, exercise regularly, and eat a balanced diet. 95% of the time, if a person that does this, they will eventually reach a healthy weight. I recognize there are exceptions to this rule, but they are only a small percentage of the 35% of adults aged 20 years and over who are obese. What? If we want people to start making changes to their life, we need to stop advocating being obese as a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So yeah, this article is important for a bunch of reasons. One of which showing that at one point Anna wasn't, insane. At another point, Anna was aware that obesity kills. This is one of the rare times Anna talks about her mom and her sister and how both of them passed away because of weight-related issues. I mean, her mom's death certificate says, morbid obesity is the cause of her death. So, where'd it go? Yeah, her mom's death certificate says morbid obesity. Her sister died of weight-related issues. She used to not be an advocate for fat acceptance, and then somewhere in 2015 she just decided that that's where she needs to live, and she just became a huge advocate for the BOPO and the fat acceptance movement, and she just like jumped in with both feet. And I don't know how you go from this to that, because she's a very vocal anti-AFA here, and then she just like goes in, right? To the point where even where for the last the entire time I've been covering her for like 2 years at this point, and even before I started covering her, she's been doing the whole like morbid obese women can do everything that a skinny girl can do. I can run and I can jump and I can do this and I can do that just as well as any skinny person can. She's even compared herself to Olympians, to Olympic athletes, and has implied that she is just as healthy and physically active as Olympic athletes. To which I have looked at the diets and activities of even the morbidly obese female Olympic athletes, and they are 5 to 6 times more active than Anna is. They work out every day of the week, 1 to 2 hours a day. No, Anna, you are nowhere near their level. But we go from this to that, and I don't get it. I want to know what happened. It's just such a mystery to me. I'm like, did you have a stroke? Did you fall and hit your head? Did you fall off a boat? It's very, I just want to know. All right, we move on to progress here. The next 2 posts are kind of related. I think it's the next 3 posts are kind of related. So this is from February 21st. This is progress. She re-injures her foot. The foot that I talked about earlier where it kind of swelled up to the size of a football. She's re-injured it. I still don't know what that injury was. I can't recall if she ever actually tells us, and she doesn't mention it here. And as far as I can tell, she never really goes and gets it treated, so but basically in this podcast, in this blog post, she's talking about, again, her struggles with food and how she has a cycle. And the cycle that she writes out here, not a doctor, but it sounds a lot like a binge. And she's not kind to herself in the way that she speaks to herself here. And you can hear the frustration, which is interesting to me, especially on the heels of that post that she made about her mom and her sister. And then we get struggling, which comes out on the 23rd. Okay, yeah, so she's got struggling, which comes out on the 23rd. and she's talking about her frustrations about not being able to basically wake up thin, and how even though she is losing weight and she is making progress, it's not as fast as she wants it to be, and that's making her she's just getting down on herself because she's not seeing the progress she wants to see. And she's like, right now I'm in the middle, and the middle of everything sucks. And she's like, what did she say? What if I fail? What if I let everyone down? What if I'm just another fat girl who gives up when it gets hard? That one just hits so hard right here. Because it's like, damn, girl. You were afraid of doing that, and then you did. Because right under that, she says, I cannot be that girl. And then on the 24th, do we have the 24th on here? Yeah, we do. And then on the 24th, we kind of get an explanation as to exactly what caused those two posts. So apparently on the 24th, she talks about how, what is this? It's under challenges and motivations. Don't be a jerk face. She talks about how she went to one of her Soul Cycle classes, and there was an instructor that she hadn't gone under before. And her foot is still jacked up, right? And this was on Saturday morning. I don't know exactly what day that was, but it was one of the days prior to this, prior to those 3 posts, right? So she talks about how she went, and her foot has swollen to the size of a grapefruit, and it's very painful for her. You see the whole thing? Yes, I'm just making sure you're wherever I am. And so she got to class, and the instructor asked if any of the students had injuries, and Anna raised her hand. And I guess, okay, she has been to the doctor, and the doctor told her, basically, don't put a lot of pressure on it. And she tells the instructor, and apparently there's like, normally this is a very routine process. You go to the soul instructor, and you're like, I can't stand. I guess they do a lot of standing when they do the pedaling. I've never been to a soul cycle class in my life. But Anna talks about standing, so I'm guessing they pedal while standing. And so if you can't do it while you're standing, you can sit down and pedal. Anyway, my point is there's ways to adjust these things. But apparently this instructor, being new and not knowing Anna, and not in that, do you know me? Because you're talking to me like someone who knows me kind of way, just didn't know Anna, doesn't know Anna's story, wasn't familiar with Anna as a member of the club. Yeah, really? I've never seen you before. Basically just has like this really shitty interaction with this instructor who kind of implies that Anna is lying. And I mean, maybe Anna is. However, she's been writing about soul cycling for, what is this, February? Yeah, for like 6 going on, yeah, 6-ish months at this point. So I'm fairly confident that she's been going to soul cycle for a while here legitimately, with through 2012 and 2013. So this interaction does kind of feel a little unfair to Anna by the instructor. Anyway, Anna says her words had a tone, and it really set her off, and basically she felt it was the high school girl, the high school popular girl tone, classically used to mock and devastate, and basically it made Anna feel bad. And that caused Anna to start having a downward spiral, and she just really hadn't realized how bad it had caused her to spiral until she went back and looked at the last few entries that she had written on her blog. And she was basically kind of like putting everything into perspective with this blog as to why the last 2 blogs had been so negative towards herself, basically. So I just thought that was an interesting post for her. And also, this Anna, 2013 Anna, I feel indignant for. I feel angry towards the soul cyclist instructor. What a jerk, okay? How dare you go after my 2013 Anna? How dare. Like, I like this Anna, okay? This Anna I like. All right, and that brings us to February the 28th. That is not it. All right. This brings us to February 28th. Little Victories Travel Edition. All right, Little Victories Travel Edition. I think that's our last post. Let me double check. Yes. Where did it go? Come back notes. All right, Little Victories Travel Edition. Anna is traveling, obviously. And I don't know where the hell Anna goes, but apparently all of the hotels Anna goes to have like free bathrobes. How do you travel at? Not the Red Roof Inn, obviously. But anyway, so she's talking about how she has gone to a new hotel for wherever the hell she's going this time. And yeah, she says it's hard not to get excited by 0.4 pounds when you are used to seeing 2+ pounds a week. So she's basically she's either hitting a plateau or she's not doing well with her diet here. Which, again, her foot's been jacked up, so that's understandable. But again, she's also talking about how she's not having a good time with the diet, staying on her diet, or within her calories anyway. But anyway, she starts talking about non-scale victories, and the non-scale victory she points to is being able to fit into the bathrobe at the hotel, because she talks about how she has never been able to do that. Like, she doesn't even try anymore because most of the time she never fits into the hotel bathrobes. So she just doesn't even bother. But for whatever reason this time she saw the bathrobe and she was like, I wonder. And so she put it on, and not only does it fit, but it overlaps nicely. She can close it and everything. I mean, look, she looks happy. Well, as happy as Anna looks when she's not being a total ham. But she very flowerly writes about how she's excited that the bathrobe fits and she feels like it's a superhero cape, and it completely changes her disappointment in not losing all 2 pounds, and it's a non-scale victory, so it helps her see again that she is progressing towards her goal even though the weight is not showing on the scale, right? Again, non-scale victories. And then the other really interesting thing that she says in this one is, again, it's hard not to compare 2013 Anna with 2024, 25 Anna. But she talks about how she hasn't been able to fit into the bathtub for over 5 years at this point. This is 2015 or 2013. So she hasn't been able to fit into the bed in a bath since, like, I don't know, do the math for me. But anyway, that's going to be my point. What makes that interesting is, was it 2024? Yeah, it was at some point in mid 2024. Anna put a story or a TikTok up where she's sitting in this really cool bathtub. But she's lounging in a really cool bathtub, and she's talking about how nice it is to be able to fit inside a bathtub again. And it's sad to me that by the end of February of 2013, that's the first time she's been able to fit into a bathtub in over 5 years. And then from I'm going to say 15-ish until 2024, she doesn't fit into a bathtub again. It just blows my mind, like, how much she regresses. And I don't get it. It's like, what happened to this Anna? Where did this Anna go? Right? It's so sad. Because, like I say, I really like this Anna, right? This Anna's killing it. This Anna has problems. This Anna has her challenges. You can see it, you can hear it. This Anna's really honest. This Anna's really self-aware. Yes, there's questions here and there about the honesty, but that's only because I know what's coming. If I hadn't read her book, and if I didn't know all of the stuff I know about her in the way future, like what, yeah, 10-ish years, 11-ish years in the future, 12-ish years in the future. If I didn't know all of that, this is a cool person. I can root for this person. Like, I'm here for this person, right? This is like, yeah, let's go. Let's doing the damn thing. Let's go. Right? And I just wonder what's happened, because it's not like someone dies. That's already happened. That's already happened, you know? And it's just one of those kind of things. But anyway, so that's January and February of 2013 for the old Glitter and Lasers blog. That is Anna O'Brien up till 2013. So let me know what you guys think. If you've made it this far, let's go out on a bang. Put a bathrobe or a bathtub down in the comments section. I don't know. Let me know what your favorite part of this was. Again, if you want to read the entries in their totality, I will put the link to the Wayback Machine in the description below the video. So go ahead and do that if you guys want to read the whole thing for yourselves. Also the pictures and all that. I will tell you some of the links inside the blog posts are dead and some of them work. So feel free to click on them, but some of them won't take you anywhere and some of them will. That's up to you. They're not going to be like, they're not going to take you someplace questionable where you're going to have to like cleanse your computer afterwards or anything like that. But so there's that. When we come back, we're going to do March and what comes after February, March, April, maybe March, April, May, maybe. But yeah, let me know what your guys' favorite part through January and February were. Were you guys following Anna this far back? Because this has been scrubbed off of her. If you go to her blog now and you try to go back, I don't think you can go. I know this isn't on her blog anymore. I don't know how far back you can go on the current Glitter and Lasers blog as it is right now. So there's that. So let me know what you guys think. Your emoji is a bathtub or a bathrobe. I'm probably going to leave wrapping up until I get to the end. So around December of 2013. And that's really all I've got for you guys. So I will see everybody when we come back for April. And that's all I've got for you guys. So bye.
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.